Hi everyone, my name's Phil, I'm from GetWindsurfing and I'm here again today with Starboard to talk to you guys a little bit about freestyle. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about setup, and I've got a few questions that I've been sent through, and hopefully I can give you guys some good answers. So first of all, let's talk about boards and equipment for freestyle. Obviously, it really helps if you can have specific freestyle equipment, as that's what it's designed for, and it definitely makes learning freestyle and new moves and certainly performing at freestyle much more consistent, and it's a lot easier to learn. I use one of these Starboard Ignites. I weigh around about 72 to 75 kilos, and for me my go-to board size is this one right here. It's the 93 litres that is. We do have another one here which is Danielle's. She's my other half, bit lighter than me, so she's got a smaller board, an 87. Generally, board size that you're looking for freestyle, anything from around about 15 to 20 litres more than what you weigh. If you're just starting out, having a slightly higher volume will help give you some stability, help you get planing a little bit sooner. Once you are a little bit more experienced, you can drop down a little bit with your volume, as you'll find that this will help to give you more control in some of the bigger, powerful moves, and maybe if the conditions are quite choppy or wavy. Sails that you can use for freestyle, you don't want to be using a free ride sail, you don't want to be using any race sails. You want something that's going to be fairly manoeuvrable. Ideally, you want a freestyle sail, but you can use wave sails as well. They do tend to work quite nicely because they're very maneuver orientated. What's important when you're doing this is that you're powered up. Okay, you want to be planing nice and easily for freestyle, so it's important that you have the right size fin. Now, most freestyle fins that you'll see will be something like this. They're quite small. This is a 19 centimetre, comes with my 93 here, and that's a really nice size for me. I can get away with using such a small fin because the board has a fast shape to it. It's got not a lot of rocker in the tail, and that helps the board to plane early off of the board shape, meaning I can get away with using a smaller fin. That smaller fin is going to help me to slide around moves and spin through my tricks. If it's your first go on a freestyle board, you might be better off getting used to it using a slightly larger fin, and something like one of these wave fins or free wave fins works quite nicely with the board when you're getting used to having a board with such a short length and getting used to how it feels. Once you've got used to it, then make the step down onto using your freestyle fin. Going out first of all in flat water is really going to help you with that. They also make really nice boards for, you don't have to be doing freestyle, they actually make nice boards for blasting around and cruising about in, because they have a lot of volume in the tail of the board and they're quite thick. It's very, very easy to get into your foot straps, and a lot of people who are free riding, they actually really quite like this board because it's fast, it's easy to use, and the compact shape makes it very playful for the turns. If you are doing that, maybe sticking one of the bigger fins that come with the board will help it to perform better for a little bit of free ride. it's going to perform better in those carving manoeuvres. If you have a slightly bigger fin, you'll get planing sooner, and it's a lot of fun. They're quite fast. Also pretty good fun for doing some jumps as well. You've got options with the foot straps. Like I said, if you're going to be blasting around on flat water, doing a bit of free ride on it, you can use it as it is with the foot straps close to the center line of the board in that inboard setting, but you do have an option on moving those foot straps to the outside of the board, the outboard setting, and going for a 4-foot strap setup. That's going to give you a bit more performance for blasting around, doing a bit more free ride, giving you more top end speed. But it works just as well as it is with the 3-foot strap setup. When you're looking at setting up your straps for doing your freestyle tricks, it's really important. When I'm teaching people to do freestyle, they often come to me either to learn their very first aerial moves, or they might already be quite advanced and looking at doing sparks or flackers or shackers and konos and all sorts of stuff like this. The first thing I look at as a coach is making sure people's foot straps are set up correctly. And by setting up correctly, I'm referring to the size of the foot strap. I'm going to pull one of these boards down now so we can have a look nice and close. And bear with me a second, guys. Let's look at my board. Here we go. And let me move that camera as well so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. Cool. Hopefully you should be able to see enough here. So, I've got to get down low to talk to you guys now. I'm right on the floor. So, we want our foot straps to be large so that we can fit our foot all the way into the strap as much as possible without my foot falling completely through the strap. I'm going to show you what my feet look like when I'm in them now. So, at the moment, let's bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see a little bit more. You can see that foot strap comes right up to the arch of my foot. It's not going to fall through the strap, even if I push it in like so. And also, I've got a little bit of movement there, but I'm not rattling around at all. It is quite snug, the fit. Same with my back foot strap. I can fit it all the way in. I haven't got a big gap. My foot won't fall through, and I can get my feet right over the centre of the board. Right, I'm really going to move you guys now so you can see. Yep. As you can see, here we have the centre of the board. Toes of my front foot are coming right over, and my back foot is right over that centre line as well. This is going to help you to balance and keep your weight over the board. It's also going to help you when you are switch stance to keep the board flat or to keep pressure on the opposite rail of the board. It's also going to help if you're crashing at all, that your feet come out nice and easily and you won't injure yourself. You're going to not get stuck in the foot straps, twist your ankles. It's going to minimise the risk of you injuring yourself if you crash. Okay, let me pop this back up here. There you go. So, you want your foot straps nice and big, so that you can get your foot well over the centre line of the board. If you crash, your feet come out easily. Also helps when you're getting into the straps to have a nice big target to put your foot in, especially if you're getting your feet into the straps. Switch stance, really useful for that. We all have different widths of feet. So if I'm looking here, we want it to kind of not have a massive gap at the side of our foot. With the back strap, you have 2 bolts. Usually if you're in the middle hole here, you're in the middle hole here. If you're in the front hole, you're in the front hole. You find what's good for you. Generally, the space between your feet, roughly about as wide as your shoulders. It needs to be a comfortable stance, but one in which you can still move forwards and backwards. If your feet are too wide, you're going to find it hard to pop and to jump. Although you will be very stable, you'll find it hard to pop and jump. If your feet are too narrow or close together, you're going to be very upright and easily pushed over. So having them about as wide as your foot straps, front and back, about as wide as your shoulders, is around about the right thing. Might be a little bit wider or a little bit closer together. Comes down to personal preference. You can experiment and see what feels good for you guys. But with these straps here, when you put your foot into the strap, you don't want your foot holding the sides of your foot. With the back one, you can move the hole slightly closer together. That gives you a nice high arch and will help to grip the side of your foot if you have narrow feet. If you have slightly wider feet, you can make it a little bit bigger, further apart. You don't want to extend it too much, as if you stretch it out too far, you're going to really flatten the foot strap out. But there's another way of adjusting them, especially on the front straps. I'm going to show you a way of adjusting them to make sure that they're different widths of the strap, even though you can't necessarily change with the holes there. Okay, so I've got a spare strap here that you can all see, hopefully, and here we go. I actually like this about this year's board. Really like it is they all come with this nice little hex Torx star bolt. Makes it really easy to undo your foot straps and do them back up without wrecking the bolt. You have to make sure that they're nice and tight on the board, and I'm sure you've all experienced this in the past where the screwdriver slips and it kills the head of the bolt and it becomes really hard to adjust. With this Torx bolt, the tool that comes with it, in it goes, and then it's super easy just to twist. You don't have to push down hard at all, and it sits and grips nicely. And what I'm looking for is just inside the strap where I've taken this out, you will see there is a little washer like so. And if you're looking at this little metal washer, you'll notice the hole in it is it's off center. And at first I used to think there was someone drilling these little washers out and they just couldn't drill straight. I've since discovered, and I want to share with you because it kind of changed my life a little bit, is it helps you to adjust the width of the straps. So, like so, with that narrow side on the inside of the strap, you're making the strap wider if you do it on both sides. If you flip that around and have that thicker end on the inside on both sides, you're making the strap slightly narrower and a snugger fit, which is really handy if you've got narrow feet. You might have really slim feet. Kids in particular, some ladies or just small people have slim feet, and the regular setting they might find their feet are rattling around too much. They don't feel that connection with the with the board, so they then get stuck into making the foot strap too small and they can't put their foot in properly. But by doing this, really helps. Really helped me, especially when changing between using boots in the winter. This winter, I have to have them a little bit wider. In the summertime, I have them a little bit narrower because I go barefoot if I can. There's no right answer between going barefoot and wearing boots. In the winter, I have to wear boots here because it's so cold and I can't stand the cold. I got to keep it, wrap my feet up. But as soon as I get a chance and it's warm enough, I try and go barefoot. For me, I think it feels best. I feel I have a little bit more, I find I move better on the board when I'm swapping my feet around. I don't get tripping up over my feet. But it's what you're used to. If you live somewhere where you have sharp objects in the water, sharp stones, obviously look after your feet and wear boots. And while I'm on the subject of looking after your feet, make sure you've got good straps, okay? Really important. The straps that come with the board, nice, super nice straps, but if you notice that they start to wear out, everything will wear out if you use it too much, replace your straps, because if it wears out, you're going to get some hard edges which will rub into your foot and make it painful. You don't want it painful, or it can cut your foot. I suffered from that when I first started out. I didn't have any straps, just used these really old ones, and it cut my feet to bits. I've got these really nasty scars on my feet from using old straps. Now I make sure that if they're wearing out, I look after my feet and I get nice new ones and replace them. Also, if they are fraying and you've got bits coming off, your feet can get stuck, which we need to be careful of, and we don't want to get stuck in the straps, as we could twist an ankle or hurt ourselves. So look after yourselves, look after your feet, make sure your foot straps are not worn down too much. When you're using a foot straps new, they will be a little bit more snug, so set them bigger. Once you've used them a few times, you might have to readjust the size because things will start to wear in a little bit. A bit like taking your new car out for a spin. So what have I talked about so far? We've talked about fins, we've talked about foot straps, talked about taking these boards for a free ride, which you can do as well. Let's talk a little bit about some freestyle moves. You guys have been sending me some questions. I've got them just over there on my my telephone, and I'm going to read through a few of the questions that you guys have sent to me, and hopefully I can give you guys some good answers and help you with your freestyle. Doesn't have to be freestyle, could be anything with windsurfing. Some of your windsurfing questions. So let me put you back over here on my table. Please bear with me. Okay, where are we? So, let's have a look at some of the questions you guys have sent through to me this time. Got some great questions. First of all, what are your top tips for initiating the rotation of an air jibe? Wow, there's so many things I could mention here, but I'll try and keep it brief. I'm going to give you two things to think about. Number one is what you're doing with your body and your hips to initiate the rotation, and then number two, we're going to focus on what we're doing with the sail to help initiate the rotation. So, two things to think about. There are other things and other ways, but first of all, let's look at what's going on with your body and your hips for doing an air jibe or a Vulcan. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point you guys down so you can see my feet. I'm all filming this myself at the moment, guys, so you're going to have to bear with the camera work and the framing. There we go. Excellent. So with the Vulcan or the air jibe, you want to jump the board up, rotate around, and end up sliding backwards, facing back the other way. Usually you need to get the board up and around about 90 degrees rotation for it to start to slide. Anything less than that, you're not likely to complete sliding around and you're likely to go back the way you originally started. You can jump further around, but with modern freestyle boards you don't really need to go all the way around the 180 degrees. Around about 90 will do the job. Initiating the rotation. So first of all, before you start, you need to make sure that you are happy jumping the board out of the water. You're happy to pop the board either off dead flat water or using a small bit of chop. You want to be going across the wind or maybe half wind, some of you might refer to it as. And if it's your first few efforts, I would recommend you doing a nice high jump, as that will give you the time to think about the rotation and then put it into action. As you get better, you can make the jump a little bit lower. Obviously the higher you jump, the less you slide, but you need time to put it into action at first. When you first try, it's all going to happen quickly, so give yourself time by jumping higher for a bit of chop or flat water. My top tip for you, and you can practice this on land actually, is if you kind of have a windsurfing stance. Let's say I have my back foot and I've got my front foot. What you want to do is with your front foot, this is what you would usually be doing, is it's facing forwards. Try turning your front foot and twisting it to face this way. You should feel the twist here in your leg. Now I know you can't stand like that on the board, but bear with me. Okay, this is really good. Twist your foot in and you feel your body already wanting to twist, but you feel yourself wanting to twist from your hips. Okay, so really twist that foot in. With your back foot, you're aiming to push off the ball of your foot here, as you would do with the pop. So you're popping off of your back foot. Okay, this foot is twisting, you're popping off your back foot. And because you've got that twist here, you can see instantly, rather than just popping straight up, I naturally want to rotate around this front leg and then push my foot out to encourage the board to slide and to keep my weight over that front leg. So try that at home, guys. I really recommend it. Twisting that foot round, pushing off the toes of your foot, of your back foot, and allowing your hips to rotate over that front leg. Try it slowly with control, stretching out your leg, and then try it a bit faster. I know you can't twist your foot like that whilst you're windsurfing on the board, but it gets you feeling the right sensation with what's going on with the twist of the hips and of the body as well. Okay, so that was tip number one, looking at what we're doing with your body and your hips. I said I'd give you another tip for the initiation of the Vulcan, and that's going to be what we're doing with the rig or the sail. First of all, when you're preparing and you're setting up, get your hands in the right position. Front hand really far forwards, close to the mast, as close as you can get it. Back hand, take it down as well, so you've got quite a wide grip on the boom. This is going to give you more control and start to bring your body over the board and get you standing a bit more upright over the centre line of the board. If you want to land on the board over the centre line, you should start on the board over the centre line. So front hand forwards, close to mast, back hand a little bit further back, and just before you take off, let's go this way. Just before you take off, your front hand is pushing the mast forwards towards the nose, and at the same time you're giving the back hand a quick pull in towards you. As you do that, you're popping, you let go of your back hand and rotating with your hips. Now, if you just rotate and leave your hand at the front here, what's going to happen is you're going to rotate around and you're going to land with the sail behind you. All your weight will be going backwards and you're going to fall in. It's going to be very hard to land the move. What we want to do is, as we're in the air and we let go and we're rotating around with our body, pull the sail the other way, hard in front of you, so that the sail lands up in front of you. It keeps your weight forwards and you're ready to put the power back on the new side of the sail to finish the move. There's a little bit more to it than that. I'll try and get a new video explaining Vulcans to you guys soon in the future, but for now that should help get you initiating the rotation and get you started. So thank you for that question. I'm just going to have a quick read, see if we can find some more good questions for us. Okay. So, switch stance. How can I get into switch stance more consistently? If you're going switch stance, try and get used to sailing with plenty of power in the sail. If you're doing it in the foot straps, you can practice non-planing, and I recommend you do take a big board, non-planing conditions, and just practice going switch stance and hanging low and getting used to the feeling of sailing with your feet the other way round. It's a really good skill to go out and practice, because mostly if you're doing aerial freestyle moves, you're going to be switch stance at some point or another. So if you can get used to it in light winds, non-planing, that's really going to help. Try and hang your weight off the boom, which is going to power the sail up, and use that pressure and power in the sail to help you balance as you're doing it. When you're looking at doing it planing, it's very important to maintain your speed of the board. That speed will help to keep you nice and stable, and obviously if you're looking at doing some moves whilst you are switch stance, it's much easier to look at maintaining that speed and then doing a freestyle trick, rather than going switch stance and then trying to build speed is considerably harder. So maybe take a slightly larger sail, not too big, you still want to be in control, but enough that the power is going to be nice and consistent. And for your first few attempts, what really helps is going in flat water. It really helps to take the board bouncing around out of the equation. You get used to putting your feet switch stance a few times, and then you can start to transition into taking it into the chop or bumpy small wave conditions. As I mentioned with doing it in light winds, try and hang your weight down off the boom so that you have plenty of pressure going through the mast foot, and that it will help to keep the sail powered up and keep you going fast. Big foot straps really help. They help you to find your foot straps when you're going switch. You don't want to be looking down at your feet. You want to be looking ahead of you and using your head to balance and look where you're going. So having them large will help you to find the straps without looking and get in them easily. It will also help you to get your toes over the centre line so that you can put a little bit of pressure on that windward rail when you're stood on the opposite side of the board. if you're looking at going for manoeuvres like konos, that's going to be really important. Okay, so hopefully that's a good switch stance tip for you. I hope that helps. Let me find another question for you guys. Bear with me. How did you learn all of your moves? Someone's asked. Practice, a lot of practice, crashing a lot. It's going to happen. If you want to learn aerial freestyle, or you're going to learn anything, you are going to crash. And learning a lot of aerial freestyle, you crash a lot. Once you've learned a few moves, you notice similarities between the moves, and the learning process speeds up a little bit. You learn how to learn, and also you recognize similar situations and feelings and positions as you are going through different maneuvers, that you can help speed up that process. Another way of helping you to do that, to recognize the positions that you're getting your body into and the sensation you're getting from the sail or the board or the movement, is, and I've said it before, go out in light winds, take a big board at first, take a beginner board if need be, small sail, and start to practice things like your heli tacks. Super important move if you want to learn freestyle is become the master of heli tacks, upwind 360s, switch stance, duck tacks, sailing backwinded, and have fun. Use it as an opportunity to really experiment and get the feel of what's happening, and it's a chance for you to do it multiple times in a controlled environment, almost in slow motion, and allow your body to feel that sensation and get used to it before you start applying it when it's windy and going back onto your smaller board. A nice thing to do is, once you've done it on the big board, once again in light winds, go out and try it on the smaller board. Then start trying it fully planing as well. All those things will help you to learn the moves. You're going to crash. Don't get disheartened. It happens to everyone. Enjoy it. Laugh. It's funny. There are some amazing crashes you can do when you're learning to do your freestyle moves. It's going to happen. You may as well enjoy it. See the funny side. Otherwise you'll go mad. But also try and don't get frustrated and angry. That never helps anyone. And I often see if people start to get frustrated and angry, I say, hey, take a break, try something else, go for a blast, go fast, a few jumps, something you know you can do, get some good feeling back, then go at it again. Sometimes a break is good. If you are crashing, try and think to yourself, hey, why'd that happen? Try it a few times, see what's wrong, then change one little thing. Don't change it all, one little bit at a time, and then hopefully you will learn lots of moves. That's how I learnt mine. Also sailing with other people. I'm very lucky. I've sailed in a lot of different places with lots of amazing windsurfers, and I have learnt a lot just by following, watching, talking to them. You find with talking to windsurfers, they're also happy to talk to you and share the passion and share the knowledge, and you can learn an awful lot by hanging around with other windsurfers and learning from them. Not just people better than you, I also learn an awful lot giving advice to people who I'm teaching. I learn myself because it causes me to think, to reassess and analyse what's happening, and constantly learning. So hopefully that gives you a nice way of thinking about how to progress your own windsurfing and how to go about learning yourself. Right, bear with me, I'm going to look for some more answers. Okay. Someone again has asked me tips for getting the back foot into the foot strap whilst going switch stance. So back foot in the strap whilst going switch stance. I mentioned it before, try and hang down low from the boom. You need to have the boom high enough that you can drop your body down low with your hips towards the wind to keep the power in the sail, but to also keep you stable. If your boom is too high, be careful, it will pull you too upright and you'll get pulled off balance. But try and have your body hanging down off the boom, keeping the pressure on that mast foot to help keep the board flat and in control. Maybe try keeping the board a little bit more closer to the wind, don't go downwind so much. This might help to give you a little bit of control when putting your back foot into the foot straps. But definitely keep low, hang your hips upwind and down off the boom. Okay, best first freestyle tricks to learn and why. Jumping the board, get used to jumping the board. You know, practice doing it one-handed, unhooked, hooked in. Try jumping upwind, across the wind, high jumps, long jumps, and then the best tricks to learn to begin with. I'm a big fan of encouraging people to learn to do a forward loop because it's one of those great moves that you can learn. You can do it for freestyle, flat water, chop. You can also do it in wave conditions as well. So doing a forward is a great move to learn. And once you do learn it, it really gives you a great feeling and a lot of confidence. Other than that, the Vulcan is a great place to start, or you know, some of you guys call it the air jibe. Great first move to learn, aerial freestyle. Moving on from that, looking at Spock, maybe a clue first Vulcan or a clue first Spock is a nice easy one to go for. And start trying some switch stance moves. Switch stance Spock, switch stance clue first Spock. Maybe looking at E-sliders, grubbies. Usually those are your first tricks. And you know, if you're already starting to do switch stance moves, you can start to look at ducking the sail to a backwinded position. Once you start to master that, either switch or regular, that really opens up a lot of things like konos, funnels and other powerful moves further along. But jumping, Vulcans, loops, great place to start. Okay, a few more questions now to finish up. Okay, flat water forward tips. I always get asked about forwards. I said before, I do love doing forwards of flat water. Pure, dead flat where there's not a ripple, I actually find slightly tricky myself. It does help if you have a little bit of chop, or even better, small wave. Definitely helps the learning process. Because it gives you time and confidence in the air. But if you're doing it off of dead flat water, try and go fast. You want to have good board speed and plenty of pressure in the sail. From there, when you are throwing the sail forwards, don't just push the sail to the front of the board and pull in. You need to gain a little bit of height if you're doing it off of flat water. What you want to do is throw the sail not just forwards, but push the sail up above you and forwards. And you can see both my front arm and my back arm are extending up above my head. So the clue or the back of the sail will be here above me. And then as I start to pull with this back hand, what this will do is it will start to lift me up a little bit higher. If I just go here and pull, I go around, I'm likely to hit the water. If I throw it up and forwards and then pull, it's going to lift me up even higher, giving me a bit more height in the flat water for the forwards. If you're doing it on flat water, you have to be fast, so throw, pull has to be very fast and has to be quite a strong movement. So that's going to be my advice to you. Don't try and delay the movement at all. Be really quick with it. Move with confidence. It's one of these moves where if you are learning for the first time, your first one is not going to be the perfect forward. What's important is that you start to get the rotation and you get round. Going with confidence, making the move fast, and then sheeting in hard. That backhand is really going to help you there. And I think on that note, I'm going to finish up for today on my freestyle chat. Thank you for joining me. It's been nice to talk to you guys. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section down below. This video is going to be live on Facebook. I'll also try and get it uploaded onto YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, have a look in the description below to find out more information on the boards that I use, which is the Starboard Ignite over here. My name's Phil from GetWindsurfing. Thank you for joining me, and thank you Starboard for having me on to do the live. Hopefully see you guys again soon. Enjoy your freestyle!